Hi, thanks for joining me. So today is actually the 3-year anniversary of Rosalind first arriving at this boatyard. So I wanted to take the opportunity to say a few things. An awful lot has happened in the past 3 years. Some of it planned, some of it unplanned. Some of you probably heard a bit about I had a major injury about halfway through this whole process, which has changed my trajectory a bit. But yeah, we're at 3 years now, and I particularly wanted to take the opportunity to thank everyone that has supported me in this process, getting to this point, and particularly to specifically thank everyone who's become a Patreon supporter recently, or has donated by PayPal, or has donated in kind in some other way, or just generally helped me in some fashion. Everyone that's volunteered on the boat over the past 3 years, thank you all so much. It makes a bigger difference than I think you probably even realize. So thank you very, very much. Yeah, and then I wanted to take you on just a little walk around of what's been going on recently. As I'm sure you're all aware, it is very hot these days. It's been a very, very hot summer. So some aspects of the work have been quite slow, especially since my boat shed is not entirely dissimilar to a greenhouse. It's always at least 5 degrees warmer in there, Fahrenheit, than it is outside. So it can be a bit of a struggle, but I've been plugging away at some things, so come have a look.
And I want to make sure everyone can hear us.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Can you hear us?
I hope you can hear me.
I know, right? Hey, Nate, come on.
Hey! Come on. Right, so I guess the biggest doings at the moment is finishing off cutting the keel rabbit and starting to make the garboards, which on this type of boat are quite complex. And this is the first section. So that's the steamed shape. It's almost fully fitted, but not quite. So I'm working on those at the moment. I've also started to bolt on the little bit of external ballast that I'm putting on the boat, which I can't remember whether I've talked about that before or not. That's not an original thing. These boats traditionally do not have any external ballast, and I didn't want to mess with that too much. Because that would affect the draft and how she's able to sit on the ground at low tide and all that sort of thing. But what I ended up with is it's about 3 inches of lead. So it's about 1,500 pounds. These three bars that are bolted to the bottom, and then fore and aft of that will be filled out with a wooden worm shoe. So that's kind of my compromise. In terms of traditional versus bring it off, because it's awful. It's really no fun. But yeah, and they need to be tidied a bit, as you can see. But they're on. They're not going anywhere. So, also, if you want to come back this way, I've started making patterns for the rudder hardware, which look like this. So this is the beginnings of a pattern for one of the gudgeons of the Rudder hardware. Goes in there like that. So it's a pretty good fit. I still have to shape the outside and then take it to a foundry and have it cast. I'm having bronze hardware cast. I hope. I've done 2 of these. I still have the top one to do yet. Let me see what else. Oh yeah, this is kind of an interesting thing, I think. So this is my take on a ring staff, which is a very very old, very traditional way of being able to effectively clamp a complicated rolling bevel type piece of wood onto a boat. In principle, you have a foot, which the way I've seen it done and done it before is the staff itself is actually sort of tapered down to a point, and that will go into an eye bolt that goes into an empty fastener hole in a plank below it, or somewhere where a fastener is going to be, so you're not making an extra hole. And then the top gets lashed to another eye bolt in a similar situation. This is a smaller boat, so I have the fortunate luxury that I can make this sort of bracket that just clamps to the keel. So the bottom part of this is completely non-invasive. The top part, because I don't know exactly where fasteners are going to go up here yet, this is a hole I will have to fill, but until I get up to here, I won't have to make another hole. So I'm probably only looking at 2 holes to fill, which is, I think, acceptable. So the way this works is you get your unbent, unsteamed, untwisted plank sort of roughly in place. You get the steam on it, and then this gets lashed to here, and then this can't move outwards. So you can put a bit of blocking and then drive wedges, and that drives it flat against the deadwood there, which is, it's the biggest twist on the boat. So and this is the part of the boat, and of course the corresponding part forward is the most complicated to clamp. There's nothing, you can't reach behind here to clamp to anything. So that's a little bit, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how you do it any other way. I'm sure there are other ways, but I do not know them. So quite pleased with how that turned out. That works really well. I also I forget if I talked about this. I've only made one so far, but for any place that I can't use a setup like that, I've made one of these. These are just bar clamps that you get at a hardware store, but made it into what's called a ceiling clamp. These are something that have been fabricated in shipyards ever since there have been clamps. So you have the normal working end of the clamp, and then the fixed part gets cut off, and then you weld some sort of screw, whether it's a lag or a bolt or whatever, on there, so that you drill a hole and you just wind this in, and then you can clamp to something. And this little tab here is actually really important, because the way that clamps work, obviously this is offset from the axis of all the effort. So if you didn't have this tab and you started clamping in, the whole thing would bend, and it has a little bit. See, I've bent this lag a little bit just from the action of clamping, but that's as much as it can bend because of this little foot. Stops it from going any further. So yeah, I've never actually seen anyone make one this small, but yeah. So that's I suppose is most of the news. And then if anyone has any questions about anything, I'm very happy to answer. Yeah. Thanks for joining me. Hopefully this was interesting and informative in some way.
It is. Tom from Oxford, Maryland says that Richard would be very happy.
Is it Tom Ray?
Yes.
Oh, hi Tom Ray. How are you?
We have a viewer in Italy who's enjoying a glass of wine while watching us walk around boat shop,
lovely.
which is very lovely. Let's see. I want to view the live chat. Everyone, Dick Jenkins says, can hear you still have a West Country accent. Well, nearly.
Well,
Stephen Holton says, howdy. Tiziano is watching from Castiglioncello, Italy.
awesome.
And then Stephen Holton sent us a little video, but I can't watch it right now, obviously. If anybody has any questions for Andrew while we're here, that'd be great. Happy anniversary, Andrew!
Thank
Congratulations on 3 years of very hard work. And
it feels like longer and shorter than that at the same time somehow. Well, getting there.
Getting there.
One piece at a time.
Maybe one look at our bonkers engine, and then.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So this is a project that Anne's been working on while I've been working on all this. Come have a look at this.
This is our friend Dane, who's been helping out.
Oh. So this is the Perkins 4108 that was very kindly given to me by Steve and Alex at Acorn to Arabella. This is the Perkins out of Victoria, which is a Atkins boat that they demoed to get lots of good stuff for Arabella as they build her. And they were very kind to pass this on to me, and Anne's been working away cleaning her up and getting a coat of paint on, and we've christened her Amelia, which is in reference to a archaeological mystery series that I'm very, very fond of, the Amelia Peabody series. This is Amelia. And we did a test with the help of a local diesel mechanic who was very kind to help us out. And she sounds very healthy, feel very, very good about it. So we were just about ready to start going through and seeing what of the major parts need to be replaced, and making an installation footprint pattern to start figuring out where exactly it's going to go in the boat and all that sort of thing. Prior to at some point I'm going to either rent a machine or otherwise get a hold of a machine that can lift it. It's going to have to go through the side of the tent and over the deck and down in. So probably a boom truck or a telehandler or something like that. So that's all coming up at some point. Not quite sure when yet, but yeah. Well, again, if anyone has any questions about anything, I'm very happy to answer. And otherwise, thanks for joining, and we'll see you again soon.
Jörg Kaminski says hello from Germany.
Hi.
Andre says nice work.
Oh, thank you. I try. Well, thank you all for spending this time with us, and you'll be hearing more from me soon. I promise. Take care.